Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Ariel Arena here on the beautiful campus of Mount Vernon Nazarene University. I'm joined here in the booth with Father Chevrier. I'm, of course, Coach Joe Erasmus. How are you doing today, Father?
Fantastic, Coach. Ready to see some good basketball today.
I am as well. We've got a great one on hand today. It is the Trinity International High School getting ready to face off with your La Salette Lions here in the National Christian School Athletic Association. Quite a mouthful.
That's a mouthful, yeah.
In that national championship in the Tier 1 bracket. This is, of course, the quarterfinals here. The Lions currently warming up, getting ready to face a very, very tough Trinity team. Though they have been 10-10 on the season, but don't let that fool you. They've got a plethora of college talent, and they've played some of the best competition in the United States coming into this tournament, and that's what's earned them their right to be here.
Yeah, and you can tell just warming up the size and athleticism, good shooting ability, good technique for these guys. So it's going to be a tough test for the Lions today.
They have two players that have a handful of mid-major offers right now. Fresno State, UNLV, San Diego State among some of the schools interested in the Trinity International roster. And Trinity International is in Las Vegas, Nevada, a place you're familiar with, aren't you, Father?
Yes, I am. Actually, I serviced our chapel in Las Vegas for 3 years, so I at least know the airport well enough by now. A lot of good basketball schools there, a lot of good talent, so I'm sure they played against some very good competition.
And one of the players to watch out there will be number 5, Dion Stroud. He's the one we told you about getting looked at by Fresno State, getting looked at by a couple of other schools as well. Not committed yet. He's still a young guy. He's got Grand Canyon, GCU on his radar, San Diego State.
Well, there's some good programs there. GCU especially is kind of an up-and-comer in the college basketball world. So, yeah, if they're interested in him, he must be extremely talented. That's going to be number 5 for them, Stroud.
And he is a junior, so I think their other player to watch is a sophomore. I'm not having a name in front of me right now. Just one note for the folks at home. It might be hard for you guys to see the lines out there on the court this evening. They are taped on, as this is normally a college gymnasium with the one main floor. And they don't necessarily have all of the lines that we need to play a high school game out there. Yeah. So we'll probably have to rely on the officials. I think you can see the half-court line down the middle of your screen. You can probably tell that it's not necessarily the standard width. We'll see if that plays any factor in the game today.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. We're also in a little bit of a different broadcast position today, a little further away from the action. There's a whole other court with the game being played between us and the Lions game. So it's a far view for your broadcasters.
It will be, we'll do our best to keep the time and the score as well. We don't have the scoreboard facing us. We've got one of our students, Tommy Martin, doing his best over here, stepping in for the first time as we see a 3 swish right off the bat by Dacian Nix.
Opening basket of the game scored by Nix. The Lions backed off him a little bit, and he took advantage to splash that early one home.
The 5 on the floor to start for the Lions are number 3, Caleb Moss, number 24, Egan Quain, number 33, Garrett Drew, number 31, Joel Adese, and, of course, number 30, the captain and senior, Ian Burns.
Go ahead. Sorry. Oh, Moss ties it up. That's a 3 of his own. That was a nice play by Quain to get possession of the basketball back for the Lions. And just one pass back to Adese, pass up the floor to Moss, and a nice open jump shot for the junior.
One thing also to watch is the floor today is about 10 feet longer than what you're used to seeing in McMahon Coliseum. This is a full-length college court. Obviously, we'll see how that'll impact the game. This is one of the few times the Lions will find a team that wants to run more than they do.
Yeah, you can see that our opponent is going to want to take every single opportunity to play fast, advance the ball, move the ball quickly. They can all shoot, so for them it's simply a matter of getting the ball worked around and fighting the first open look. Any of them are happy to take it.
And believe that was just out of bounds. The Lions retain the basketball.
Yeah, I think it's a kicked ball, so possession will stay with the Lions. Moss inbounding it. We'll see. It looks like Trinity is, they're in a man-to-man. And we imagine the kind of ball team that they are, they're going to play man-to-man the entire game. I wouldn't imagine them going into a zone against La Salette. So it'll be a matter of good screening and good passing to get some open looks against them.
Adese tries a three of his own. It's no good. And then back the other way is Stroud getting his first two. Starting five are, sure I'm going to butcher this one. I tried to get it right before the game, but was it Slavankinen, I believe, is wearing number Slavachinen wearing number 13, number 5, Dion Stroud, number 33, Matthias Lima, number 1, Dacian Nix, and number 3, Yassine Raji. And
Lions will also have to adjust a little bit, Coach, today. You could see the last play by Quain, or the play before that, by Quain. There's a little bit of body contact with the Trinity player. No call being made. I don't think the refs are going to call anything too tightly today, so there's going to be a lot of contact and a lot of physical play. And the Lions are going to have to adjust, especially with our opponent's size advantage.
Dion Stroud wide open for three, and it rattles home. And now that lead is up to 11-3. Stroud's off the mark with 5 quick points.
Yeah, he can definitely shoot. He can jump extremely quickly to that layup that he made down there for them. He got up in the air in a hurry. So we're going to have to be very savvy defensively to stay in front of him and make things difficult.
Well, he's getting that shot the same place that Danville had a lot of success when they played the Lions earlier in the season, right in that corner.
Yeah, a couple corner baskets for them, yeah. We could see, too, the couple times that they've had it in the half-court set, they've kicked the ball around the perimeter and moved things around extremely quickly. I just saw number 33 for them, Lima. That's their 7-footer.
Yeah.
It must be their 7-footer. he just left the gym. I don't know quite what's going on there. Perhaps he has a cut or something. So now Trinity only has 7 guys, so not very deep today.
Matt Moe comes on to replace him wearing number 2. Caleb Moss for 3. He is short. Saved by Garrett Drew, and he hits number 10, Melvin Diaz, who is standing out of bounds. And so the Lions will retain it, thanks to the hustle of the big man.
It's the ball inside finally to Adese.
Spinning to the hoop and gets it in.
Nice basket. Yeah, I think we were kind of enforcing things a little bit on our first few possessions from the outside, Coach. Moss had a nice open look, but the other ones were not really good shots for us. And I think we need to be patient against this team and work it around. And even with their size, we should try to get it inside, and play where we like to play and where we're good.
And there's another 3 swished by number 13.
Slavachinen. Yeah, that's 6 points for him, I believe. That's his second 3-pointer of the game.
Yep, that's what I got as well.
There we have Will Schrader about to check into the game for the Lions, number 32. He'll come in to replace Garrett Drew. So Coach Anderson making, I think, a good adjustment. Drew's obviously a big force on the inside, but the way that Trinity's playing with their quickness and their outside shooting, it does hamper the Lions a little bit having him on the floor. He can't come out to the perimeter and guard. There's a turnover. Number 1, Nix, has the ball, bringing it up there. And there's number 3. He makes the basket and he's fouled. So that's Yassine Raji for Trinity, and he'll go to the line to shoot 1.
And folks, we understand that we might be a little bit choppy. We are recording this game, and we will be able to air it at a later time as well. If you're having some interruptions and issues, fear not. We'll be able to recap this for you a little bit later this evening as well, hopefully.
Hopefully. So that's the free throw is good by Raji, so that's 3 points in the game now for him. Trinity coming out to an early lead against the Lions. The Lions only 2 baskets coming from Caleb Moss and Joel Adese. While Trinity has a host of players in the scoring column already, Slavachinen and Stroud, Nix and Raji all scoring for them. Only two 2-point baskets really. A layup by Stroud and then that layup by Raji. Lions taking back to the floor now. It looks like Burns is going to inbound the ball. And Trinity's extending pressure. A nice, quick team like they are. They're going to try to press full court, or at least hassle us a little bit full court to try to distract us and throw us off of our game plan.
And that score with about 4 minutes to go is 17-5. Trinity leads, and Egan Quain has the ball knocked out of his hand as he goes up to the hoop. But
yeah, he's dribbling hard to the basket. Trying to draw a foul, I think, in order to go to the line to get the Lions some points, get us back in the scoring column here.
Odesse in the high post. Puts up a little 18-footer.
It's no good for him.
Perhaps a little bit off on the rangefinder. And there's some fantastic ball movement going on by Trinity.
Quick.
Team from Vegas gets it to the corner for three. This time he'll get the bottom of the net as he misses. Will Schrader gets trapped. He finds Quain, who has the ball knocked out of his hand by Yassine Raji.
See Schrader being trapped hard by those two Trinity players there, trying to get the ball back quickly in the backcourt. Very intelligent defensive team. They press when they can. They know when to pull it back. They know when to hassle people. Be very careful with the basketball here.
Moss takes a long three.
No good.
No good. Odesse saves.
Odesse collects the rebound. We're being pushed out quite a bit. Odesse is being guarded by a 7-footer there, so.
And
he's fouled by the
draws the foul.
7-footer.
He will go to the line and shoot two. And that's the first foul I've got going against Matias Lima.
Matias Lima. It's a good strong move by Odesse to the hoop, taking it right at the bigger Lima.
And that's the first foul I've got going against the Trinity International High School.
Second one's good from him, so that's a free throw by Odesse. That's his third point of the game so far.
Lions trailing 17-6 with about 3 minutes left to play here in the first quarter. Turnaround from Stroud. He hangs in the air and gets it to fall. Back the other way is Quain. Burns from the baseline. He gets one to go.
It's a good look for him.
Ball up top. He tries to get it down low to Lima, and that ball bounces off the 7-footer's hands and out of bounds. And it looks like coach is none too happy with his big man. Brings in the much smaller Yassine Raji. Quain loses his handle, regathers, and throws a pass.
Passing lanes.
And Will Schrader a little bit lucky not to be ending up on the bad end of a posterizing dunk.
And there's Moss trying to turn and advance the ball into the front court against Diaz. Diaz jumping right up on him. Anytime we're exposing the basketball or being any kind of laziness, at all in the passing lanes, Trinity's right over it.
Schrader drives, his shot no good. Back the other way to a wide open Nix, who goes up over the basket and just drops it in.
See what the Lions try to do offensively here against this Trinity staying in their man. So, there's Quain in the lane.
Off the glass,
nice
too
shot.
strong.
Nice play by Moss. It was good aggression by him to pick up that miss by Quain and go straight back up with it.
That foul goes against number 10, Melvin Diaz. That's his first, team's second. Caleb Moss at the line shooting two for the Lions. First one is good.
So Moss had that early three, and then that free throw gives him 4 points so far in the ball game.
Second one goes as well, and now the Lions bring it to a 9-point deficit with a little under 2 minutes to go here to play in the first quarter.
And still, the game's within single digits, Coach. So not a
Well, not with a long three like that.
Spoke too soon. It wasn't single digits. Now it leads up to 12.
Dacian Nix says splash. Burns under the basket. Nice little up and under.
That was a beautiful athletic play by him, the kind of plays that he's been making for the Lions, twisting and spinning around the basket, making very tough finishes inside.
And good job by Will Schrader to prevent the inside pass. And so it will be Trinity to inbound from the left baseline. And we've seen a lot of substitutions by the Trinity side. They're moving guys in and out. Obviously, it's a long tournament. You got to play 3 games in 3 days, regardless of how you do. So you want to keep those guys fresh, I suppose, especially if you only have 7. And what a move to the hoop by Slavachinen.
Yeah, that was a nice, strong move. And they only have 7 guys, as we already pointed out, Coach. So they're going to, I'm sure, be rotating people in as much as they can.
And Quain drives in and draws the foul against Dacian Nix. Can't get it to go, but he'll still get his 2 at the line. And
that was a nice headsy play by the senior guard, going in there to his left and flipping it up with the left hand. Almost looked like it was going to fall.
That is the first foul going against Nix, the 3rd team foul. Quain good on the first free throw.
First point of the game for Egan. He's come on strong late on in the season and been a very important contributor for the Lions several times late in important games recently.
And underneath a minute, Lions get control of a rebound. Quain dribbling it up the floor, gets hacked from behind. That foul is going against Madit Mo, and that's his first, team's 4th. So if the Lions can get them into foul trouble, maybe a way to slow down the game a bit. The Lions trail by 13. It's a 26-13 ball game right now. And Bronner walks right into a trap, has the ball taken away from him. Adese loses sight of the ball and back the other way. Go Trinity. 2 points added to Yassine Raji's total. There are a whole host of Trinity players getting big scores here in the first quarter. A nice little behind the back pass to Moss, who can't finish it. And the fight for the rebound, but the final buzzer sounds, and it is 28-13 here at the end of the first quarter.
I think a little bit of early nerves for the Lions, Coach. We're making some look a little discombobulated, maybe a little bit back on our heels early against a very tough, very athletic Trinity team. But I think if we settle down into it here in the second quarter, I think we can maybe chip away at this lead. So we can definitely score against them. You know, we can play with them. They're going to be tough for us to guard, but just a few mental mistakes that the Lions have made early, you know, have kind of put this score where it's at right now. I think this could be a much closer second quarter.
Yeah, we would hope to see that here in the second half. The Lions have played well against good teams in big games. Can't forget the Danville performance. Just as a kind of a comparison, just in terms of how athletic the team that we're playing today, Danville might be the most apt comparison of the teams that the Lions have played in the past. Compared to them, Trinity is going to be a little bit looser, a little less of a system, more relying on things like the ISO, less team play basketball, you would think. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't see a whole lot of screening. Not doing a whole lot of screening for each other on the court, but they seem to be pretty unselfish with the basketball. They'll just move it around until any one of them gets a decent look. You know, as we said already, they can all shoot, so they're comfortable with any of their players letting it fly.
And they are going to sprint up and down the floor with reckless abandon. Try to use those extra 10 feet to tire out the Lions.
Yeah, they can get up and down the floor quickly, and as we saw, they can get up in the air quickly.
Quain has the ball taken away from him by Mo. And Burns with a emphatic rejection and a charge called on the end of it. Moss was just sitting there waiting for it. That foul goes against number 10, Melvin Diaz. That's his second, team's 5th. Lions inching closer to the bonus, and perhaps a good opportunity to chip away at the deficit they find themselves facing. Adese gets the offensive rebound and can't get the putback to go. Immediately, Trinity is looking to go back the other way. The Lions have to be aware of that. They usually are a team that likes to crash the offensive glass. And a rejection by Yves Comba.
Yves Comba finally playing up to his height. Good presence in the middle of the floor by the big man.
Under the hoop is Burns, but Quain can't quite find him. Quickly up the floor to Stroud. Quain gets in his way enough to make him turn around. And then Moss with the steal. He loses his footing, goes to the deck, and coughs it up. And here is a quick three. No good by Nix. And so the Lions will take it up the floor. And that 50, 60-foot pass not working coming off for the Lions today. And Burns gets called for the block. And you have the number of fouls for the Lions, Coach, our father?
I'm sorry, I haven't been keeping track of that yet this quarter, Coach. There's a couple quick ones picked up by the Lions.
First free throw, no good by Stroud. That score sticking around at 28-5. Second one will go. And
Moss, a tough shot along the baseline there going up. It was contested. Definitely some body contact, but as you already said, the refs are not going to be calling the game too tightly here this afternoon. So we can't expect, fouls to be called if there's small bumps or even touches.
And there's a charge call going against number 10, Melvin Nix. That's his third, team 6. And it'll be interesting. It looks like he will have to sit. He doesn't have any points in the game thus far, though. I'm sure the Lions would prefer those fouls going against the likes of Slovacinen, excuse me.
It's a mouthful.
Burns for three, and he
Burns
drains
from the
it.
Corner. If there's ever a game for him to get on from three-point, this is the one. We need that extra oomph on the offensive side of things from him.
And he's got 7 now. Down low to Stroud with a little floater, no good. Last touched by the big 7-footer, Lima, and it will be Lions basketball. About a little under 6 minutes to go here. The Lions trail 29-16.
We see Moss taking a seat on the bench, Coach, and Will Schrader, and for him, Moss making a couple bad decisions, getting a little too aggressive on the offensive side of things.
And Kumba gets fouled trying to go for a jumper from about the free throw line. Matched up against one of the few, if only people, who are taller than him. First free throw, good for Kumba. Second one, no good, but rebounded by Ian Burns. Kicks back to Schrader. Schrader drives, can't find an opening. Down low to Adese, being double teamed, triple teamed, and he finds Kumba to Schrader.
Yeah, a lot of pressure being put on by Trinity, coming up as soon as Adese spins towards the lane right there. They know which way he's going to go now. He usually spins the same direction, so they bring the help very quickly against him.
And having heard from the Trinity coach before the game, it sounds like the game plan is to stop Adese. Just talking to him, he said looked like the Lions had one fantastic player in the middle, and then they have 4 competent guys all around him on the outside, and that makes Joel Adese very dangerous. So you just gotta wrap him up and not let him get a pass away, was the scouting report from the other side on the Lions. Interesting to hear what other coaches have to say.
Definitely interesting, and that's a very good strategy to bring pressure onto Adese to prevent the kick out. The Lions have been very good at that throughout the season, especially later on, in getting good jump shots from players off of the kicks from Adese. Free throw there by Egan Quain. It's 2 for 3 now from the line.
The Lions now have, Trinity has 7 fouls against them now, so the Lions are in the bonus. This was shooting foul, I believe.
Another point by Quain. And
it's getting a little tighter here, 31-19, as we're approaching the midway point in the second quarter, but then Slavatkinen is wide open right underneath the basket to re-extend that lead to 14.
He caught Yves Komba, number 50 for the Lions, kind of ball watching a little bit and not paying attention to the player that was backside of him. So Slavatkinen punished that, just slipping into the hoop to pick up an easy 2.
And Kumba, obviously a sophomore, not the most varsity minutes this year, but you just need his size out there against when you've got 7-footers like Matias Lima out there on the floor as well.
Exactly, and we've seen him come on strong at the JV level, Coach. So he should, he's been getting some very good minutes in late in the season. And hopefully the confidence that he's gained from those good performances will carry over into this game.
With Adese working on Stroud.
And as soon as Adese starts to go to the middle, they bring the help. As soon as he moves away in any direction, they bring the help.
Well, someone's got to cut. There's got to be an opening somewhere. And it looks like a timeout is being called by Coach Anderson.
And again, a judicious use of his timeouts by Coach Anderson. Very stagnant on offense. The ball's going into Joel, but nothing else is happening away from him. No player movement, no positioning from the Lions. And we need to get people into position. So Coach Anderson's going over any one of the multiple sets that they've worked on against man-to-man defense to see if we can get a good shot here.
And the score right now, with a little under 4 minutes to play in the first half, is 31-19, Lions trail. And again, apologies, we're having to do scoring without sight of the scoreboard or the clock.
Broadcasting in adverse conditions, Coach.
Yeah, broadcasting through adversity.
That should be our motto.
Broadcasting.
La Salette Lions, broadcasting through adversity.
And Will Schrader gets ready to inbound the ball. He needs to get it in quickly. He finally finds Adese close to that 5-second limit. And the Lions have held Trinity scoreless for a little bit now. And Adese finds Burns down low, but he's moving away from the basket. Can't get a shot up there. Now to Adese, who will probably draw the help. The double team comes, and Adese throws it to Stroud. Stroud's pass. Wow. Oh,
ooh,
that's
goodness.
Not good to see.
As you can see there, the athleticism by Trinity, flipping the ball off the backboard and catching it to throw it home. Breaking their little scoring drought that they were on. The Lions, very, as we already said, stagnant away from the ball. It goes to our big number 31, but no players are going towards the basket. We don't see people getting into scoring positions there.
Yeah, you have to make cuts when you've got a guy getting triple teamed. That should mean 2 wide open people.
Yeah, you would think. And Adese is doing a lot of ball handling for us as well. They're moving him out around the perimeter where he's guarded by Stroud.
Schrader wide open for 3, a little too strong, and it's brought down by Slavatkinen. Back up the court quickly, and up off the glass goes Dacian Nix, and he's got 8.
Good strong move to the basket there. Burns was coming over to try to prevent it, but a little late getting into the lane.
And a great cut by Schrader. He can't get the bucket to go, but that should be the 4th foul, I believe, on Melvin Diaz. Maybe a bit of a development here.
It'll be interesting, especially since Trinity only has 2 subs, to get into the game to replace their starters, see what they do here. It's a good back cut, as you said, by Schrader, Coach. Finally, somebody getting some movement towards the basket away from the ball. Schrader's first free throw is no good. Spins the ball for his second. That's also no good.
Kumba goes up strong. 2. Can't get it to go, though.
That's too bad. It's a good rebounding move by Kumba, slipping into position there and grabbing the ball off the cylinder. He's got to be able to finish that around the basket, however, go up strong.
I'd like to see him jump over the basket in that situation.
Exactly.
That ball hits the back iron and falls into the hands of Joel Adese, who's looking to maybe try and take the game over a little bit.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of ball handling away from the hoop. As we already said, perhaps what the Lions are trying to do is to have Komba move around the basket where Adese normally plays and have Joel be able to have more freedom of movement around the court. But if we do that, Eve cannot put the ball on the floor as he did that last possession.
Air ball from Slovakinen. Now Adese finds Schrader to take it up into the half court. And a lot of pressure, a lot more than the Lions would be used to. They go to Burns in the corner, Schrader up top, around to Adese.
Adese looking to pull it from 3. He gets it over to Quain.
Quain will pull.
Oh,
Too strong,
good,
rebounded by Burns up to the hoop off the bottom of the backboard. And Adese can't do enough to alter that pass, and it'll be a layup for Madit Mo. That's his first 2 points.
Yeah, Joel jumping up there, almost corralling the basketball, but just a little too short on it. Mo had the easy finish around the hoop.
The Lions a little slow to react after there's a turnover, get back in transition. Obviously, it didn't affect them in this situation. Stroud will just hold on to the ball.
Yeah, they're going to hold for 1 here as the last minute of the half winds down.
Their lead up now to about 18. Quain almost gets the steal, knocks it out of bounds.
That was a nice headsy play by Quain. He saw Stroud as being a little lackadaisical with it, so he jumped over there to try to knock it away from him.
That's got to be frustrating for the Lions. They want to pressure, not allow Trinity to just hold on to the ball. But it's a bigger half court than they're used to, and all these players are incredibly quick on the Trinity roster.
I think they're going to have to go towards the basket soon here, Coach.
Oh, what a pass by Slovakinen. And there's the dunk to finish it off by Lima.
Yeah, nice play all around by Trinity, getting the ball down low. Nice wraparound pass around the back. A nice, easy two-handed dunks. The Lions were committed over to stopping ball.
The Lions go into the locker room trailing 39-19, and we'll take this break. We've had the first 5 episodes so far of the Top 12 with Father Michael McMahon of his top 12 basketball players in his La Salette tenure, and today we finish it off with numbers 1 and 2. So we'll go to that now.
So, Father, let's start out with your pick for number 2.
You know, it's difficult, Joe. As I said, I've labored over this one. I think that in a number of different ways we could have had other people at the number 1. I mentioned John Carlisle or Charles Deister. Carlisle for the overall leadership, captain, hard work ethic. And then Charles Deister for having, just having that heart, the heart of the Lion. As a basketball player, strictly speaking, someone like Michael Middlemore, there have been, for different reasons they could have been number one. But it's pretty clear to me, I think objectively, that the 1 and the 2 are 1 and 2. But they're very close. I would lean to even saying they're tied at 1. But we've got to come up with a 1.
There's got to be a winner.
There's got to be a winner. There's got to be a 2. I think the biggest difficulty really is the fact that they're just so different in positions. One being a point guard and a really pure point guard. The other one being a big man, a 5, but someone who could go play a 4, even play a 3. And I think when we get to the starting lineups in different situations in the next installment, we'll look at that. But I think we got to come right down to it, and I'm going number 2 with the all-time assist leader, one of the area's all-time assist leader. I think he's in the top 30 in the top 30 or 50 even in the state. James Deister, almost 400 assists. I think as a basketball player, even taking into consideration the rest of the list, this is probably number 1. James was athletically probably our best athlete as a player. Very quick, could jump, not very tall, but just a great athlete. Could score when he wanted to, but really didn't do it. Maybe didn't do it enough, and that's one of the things that keeps me from. I tried to find some negative to put 1 as 1 and 1 as 2. Just a great player, exciting to watch, made everyone better, was not concerned about scoring, was concerned about winning, wanted to pass the ball. I mean, a beautiful point guard. It was a pleasure to watch. I think at the beginning of this year, we saw how much we missed him. Someone like Ian Burns, who maybe has difficulty creating his own shot, or has. He's made great strides, and now his 8 to 14 foot jump shot is almost money when he takes it. However, he relied entirely upon Deister to a great extent, as did almost everyone else. And you could even say that the number 1 relied to a great extent on getting the ball from James. If we had James this year, it would have been just a team maybe beyond beating. But I put him in number 2. Fantastic player, incredible work ethic. He's one of our Hammer Award winners. I mean, a burning desire. One negative might have been the fact that he was both the point guard and he was the captain of the team, but almost non-vocal. And I think to me that probably was the clincher to put him at 2 and not 1. If he had been more vocal, if he had a little more of the Charles Deister, his older brother, in him, I think, and not much, we didn't need too much, because he was a far superior player than Charles, but just a little more vocal, that probably would have put him at number 1. But I mean, a fantastic player. In my mind, as the years go by, you forget a lot of the negatives, as many as you can. You just think of, just great on defense, great anticipation. One of those select few who actually anticipated, didn't merely react, had it all. Number 2 could be arguably number 1. I think it's really up in the air. Well, I'm going to go number 2 with James. Great point guard, definitely the best point guard we ever had, and possibly the very best player we've ever had.
Well, I'd say now that we've heard that too, everyone was probably taking a deep gasp to see what the number 1 is, but I think it would be a bit assumed if James is number 2.
So number 1 is John Bronowski, but John is the only player in La Salette history to get 1,000 points. I think it's 1,143. He scored in the single game high score, and he's maybe 8 to 10 times he's in that top 25 list of single games, and a number of them were very important games. I think the one that really stands out was a really tough overtime loss to Arcola, coming off a state football championship. They had a very good basketball team. I think they won the regional, maybe even the sectional, but they were in the sectional final that year in 2016. In that game, John had 35 points. When we really needed hoops, John made the hoops in the Indiana State Christian State tournament, and the Final Four in the championship game. Came up big. He was someone who could play inside, almost money inside around the hoop, and then he could also hit the three, could dribble a little bit, complete player, and he really, again, he's a Hammer Award winner. I think the reason I really put him at 1 eventually was I think we got everything we could possibly get out of John. He squeezed all the potential out of himself by an immense amount of hard work, memory. I can remember his freshman year. It was September, playing a little pickup in the gym. I was still physically able to get out there and mix it up with the boys a little bit. It's probably a half-court game though at that time, and it was down south. And I remember playing, and he was skinny. Hadn't played much basketball. Certainly didn't have great skills. Very little skills. Certainly not anything refined. But you could see he had nice hands. There was something to work with. And I remember saying to him, if you work hard, you can become a really good player. And he did that. To me, that's one of the great examples of what someone can do here, and the long-term goal of really putting the effort and the energy into that. And I think that's outstanding. So great rebounder, great, eventually, and it's someone who maybe is naturally a little more timid, which is something a lot of our boys have, but at some point it clicked and he realized, I can impose myself on the game, and he did that. Again, an only 1,000-point scorer. He was a special honorable mention in the News Gazette. He's the only person for La Salette who's ever been Athlete of the Week for the News Gazette, recognized there. He was selected for an all-star team, didn't play because he was playing rugby. That's something both he and Deister did, which I think is amazing. Deister maybe to a higher degree, showing the athletes if they had concentrated on basketball because both of them were able to get a scholarship in college and play at the next level. When they decided, both of them, James still currently is now at the Brothers Novitiate, trying to be a religious brother. John had tried the seminary rather than going off to college. But they decided to play rugby as seniors, hadn't played before. They go out there, they were starters, and James was capable of being an all-state level player with some amazing plays, not really knowing the game because he didn't play. So there you have it, 1 and 2. It was a pleasure watching them. It was a pleasure for the most part. There were certainly, as always, those moments, but two guys who made themselves into players, had some athletic ability. I put John at 1 because I think he got everything he could get out of his abilities. But at the same time, I think you could easily put Deister at number 1. But you have to make the choice. So there we go, 1 and 2.
Wow.
Top 12.
Well, thank you for that bit of La Salette history, Father. I think we do have to give a shout out to all the boys who've done the hard work to get us these stats, to get the video together. It's not just Father and I doing all the hard work behind the scenes. The boys do a lot.
Oh, this is easy. This is a pleasure. This is talking about La Salette hoops, especially when in retrospect, because we're basically focusing on the good. I mean, we look at those. You look at those clips. You think these guys are NBA talents. I think we could probably put maybe in the future we'll do the opposite. No, we'll leave it. I think, whoa, there's Populous and Middlemore, and all they're doing is hitting shots. It's incredible.
Well, thank you, Father, for sitting down with me again today.
It was a pleasure.
Coming up in the next game, we'll have some final reflections with Father McMahon on the basketball program during his tenure here at La Salette. Thank you.
Well, that was a very special opportunity to sit down with Father McMahon over the past few weeks, talk to him about his top 12 players and just some of his reflections on the La Salette basketball team program in his tenure. And there was a lot of really interesting insight, and it was a lot of fun. So we hope that you guys got the chance to enjoy that. Hopefully you didn't disagree too much with his picks. I know he definitely labored over choosing the 1 and 2 and choosing all of them. Certainly all athletes deserving of recognition, and it's absolutely incredible to look at this basketball program, think where it was 13 years ago when Father McMahon first started the academy, and now look at it now, competing in Tier 1 of a prestigious national tournament chock full of college college level talent. And the Lions are here, and you got to think it's only going to go up from here. You think back to losing almost 10 straight to Arthur Okaw, and now they haven't changed coaches, they haven't really changed systems, and the Lions are now beating them quite comfortably. So a very, very special thing is going on in Georgetown, Illinois, at least where basketball is concerned. Of course, with the academics as well. But it certainly has to be, credit has got to be given to the headmaster, the headman, who's gotten everything together. And it was very special to sit down with him over the last couple of weeks. In the next two games, we'll have broken into two installments, just Father McMahon's last little final reflections on the basketball program in his tenure. So we hope you join us for that. But now we have some more basketball to watch here. And the Lions trail 39-19 with about 7 minutes left. I'm finally rejoined by Father Cheveria, who's checking the book.
It's a long trip down there, Coach. A lot of doors are locked in this place, but I finally made it back. And the Lions were outscored 28-13 in the first quarter and 11-6 in the second quarter.
Wow.
So it's to give us a 39-19 margin at halftime. Egan Quain has 3 points for the Lions, Caleb Moss with 5, Ian Burns with 7, Joel Adese with 3, and Komba with a lone free throw.
And some fantastic outputs numbers being put up by a few of the guys on wearing white tonight. Slovakinin has 10, Stroud 8, 2 for Matthias Lima. Deshaun Nix has 10, and Madet Mo has 2, Yassine Raji has 5, and Melvin Diaz has 2 as well.
See Adese holding now. The Lions are trying to get him going towards the basket, maybe taking Trinity off the dribble. Well, that's an easy run out for Trinity. Number 1 did that same thing for them. That's Nix did that same thing for them in the first half. Anytime there's a quick rebound, they look to push, as you said.
And Quain fouls him, doesn't want him going strong to the hoop again, so it will be 2 shots for Dacian Nix. Lions trail 42-19 here with about 6 minutes, 18 seconds to play in the third quarter. And you'd hope the Lions would get a little bit chippy here, a little bit of fight come out of the halftime break.
Yeah, you hope so, Coach. In my opinion, far too passive against Trinity in the first half. I mean, we know that this is a very good, very talented ball club, and we need to come out aggressively against them.
Second free throw is good as well. And Quain takes it over the timeline. He draws a little contact and then passes it off to Burns. Burns gets fouled by number 5, Ben Stroud. Dion Stroud. That's Stroud's third, and he's going to sit down for a little bit.
And Nix already has 4, I think, for them, Coach. So.
And there's another foul going against Matthias Lima. He's now got 3 as well.
That's against their big man. As we said, Trinity is not deep, so they're going to have to be careful. We see that they're a very aggressive team defensively. They may have to back that off now in the third quarter with the foul trouble that they're in.
And the Lions will have to, if that happens, the Lions will have to recognize, and they'll have to go into full-out attack mode. Really, their only chance down 44-19 here, midway through the third quarter. And Burns can't come up with the steal, so it will be Trinity basketball.
That ball was getting away from number 3, Raji. He lost his footing a little bit and was just trying to flip it back in bounds. And Burns wasn't quite into position to get his mitts on the basketball, so it'll stay with Trinity.
Over to Slovakinin, now up top. A little too strong from Mo. Slovakinin tries his hand. Moss just goes with only one hand for that rebound. He's got to go strong with two hands. It's just fundamental basketball that the Lions
will have to go strong with two hands, Coach. And there's Egan Quinn picking up 2 quick fouls so far at the start of this half, fouling Nix earlier on his breakaway opportunity, and they're fouling number 10, Diaz.
Diaz misses his first. Remember, he's got 4 fouls of his own. The Lions got to look at number 33 and number 5 and number 10 and think, hey, if we can get 1 or 2 more fouls on these guys, they might have to play a man down.
Play 5-on-4.
And the pass intended for Garrett Drew just bounces harmlessly out of bounds.
Drew's been slipping in and out of action throughout this game, Coach, as we already talked about earlier. He has the size down low, but perhaps maybe matchup problems if he's in the game against the quicker Trinity players.
And running those extra 10 feet probably, they add up on a big man like Garrett Drew.
They do, yeah.
It's a bit criminal. They make the biggest guys on the floor run the longest distance to get underneath the hoops.
Unfair, unfair.
Unfair.
Abusive rugby players like Mr. Drew.
Though not his younger brother. His younger brother is perfectly content to camp out by the three-point line sometimes.
Yeah, his younger brother, who we saw perform quite well in the junior varsity basketball tournament, Coach, that the Lions just won previous to the varsity team heading up here for this event. Number 35 on the JV team had a couple of really good games for La Salette. Hopefully he can get some good games in the varsity level next year.
Garrett Drew with a nice finish underneath the basket. And now that lead is trimmed to 47-21 with about 4 minutes to play. Like you said, the Lions need to attack the basket. A lot of their bigger guys down low in a bit of foul trouble. And what a fancy pass from Slovakinen. And then it'll be a 3 from Nix.
Splashing it in from the outside. He got a couple layups earlier on those fast break opportunities, and any good shooter who has a chance to get a couple easy ones normally tends to heat up from the outside.
Burns for 3, no good. He can't get his second of the game. Drew gets the ball patted out from his hands from behind by the 7-footer Lima. Back the other way goes Nix to the hole. Can't get it to fall. Rebounded by Ian Burns, who is running. He's going to go. He's got a 2-on-1 with Drew. Drew draws the foul, and that is number 5, we would think, against Melvin Diaz. We'll see if he has to sit to confirm.
Yeah, and that indication coming from the scorer's table, Coach. Mr. Michael Latz is, I think, the only player keeping a book down there. Trinity's traveling light, as we can see. Only 7 players, and no assorted personnel with them.
And Latz is not going to let those 5 fouls slide. That's the last we've seen of Melvin Diaz. He goes out with just 2 points. So he's had some impact on the defensive end for sure. His high pressure game has given the Lions trouble, but it's also led to his own foul trouble. So maybe some opportunity and some space for the Lions guards to maneuver now.
Well, 23-point lead for Trinity. Running a motion around the outside now. Definitely they're not in a hurry, as we said. Some of their players being in foul trouble. Only having 1 available sub now.
And this team lost a game 110-103 in regulation earlier this season, which means they are capable of, in a 32-minute game, scoring 103 points.
That's a lot of offense.
110-103. I don't think anyone played defense. That game was in Tennessee. Adese for 3, off the front iron, and the Lions. You can't get the lead back all at once. You got to look for a good shot.
You do have to look for a good shot. I see the same thing we spoke about earlier, Coach. Komba comes in the ball game, and Adese drifts out to a wing position. Now here's Stroud handling the ball, guarded by Adese. You'd think this would be a bit of a matchup. Stroud's probably a little quicker around the perimeter, though perhaps not.
And Adese hacking Stroud a lot. Refs letting that go, though, today.
Yeah, really really a loosely called basketball game.
And you know, the Lions, they need to react to that, you know? If the refs are going to let it go, maybe put your hands on the guy a little bit. Hold him as he goes by, grab a jersey.
Yeah, and then on the opposite side of things, and when we saw Garrett Drew around the hoop going up, he got bumped, but that's just not getting called today. So he stopped playing, you know, expecting the foul to be called, and he has to adjust and realize that the refs aren't making those calls.
You see Will Schrader getting hassled up and down the floor. He basically puts Matt Mo on his backside, and the ball dribbles out of bounds. So maybe there's a little bit of that fire. The Lions have to, you know, thrive on that contact. If it's being allowed, you got to do it, take it, because the other team has already shown that they're going to take that inch. And there's a foul called. That one going against number 1, Dacian Nix. That's his first. Team's 4th, I believe.
So now Stroud has 3, Lima has 3 by our count. Raji is fouled out with 5. Oh, sorry. Diaz is fouled out with 5. Quite a bit of foul trouble. There's the 7-footer. Lima just plucking the ball out of the air there. We're trying to find that pass on the backside, and Lima just had to reach up and grab the basketball, getting an easy dunk on the other end of things. And there's number 3, Raji, stealing the inbounds pass.
And shot from the corner, no good. Rebounded by Moss. Quickly up to Adese, who holds on to it. And he goes to the hoop, and he can't throw it down. But Moss on the follow. That's 2 more points. The Lions now trail 52-24.
And a little bit disconcerting here, Coach. We already mentioned the adverse broadcasting conditions. We have another game which you can't see on your screen, but it's being played on a court just in front of us, and where that court is between us and the game that we're calling now between La Salette and Trinity. And there's a lot of just whistles being blown all over the place in this gym, so especially when a player is going to the basket and there's contact made. When you hear the whistle, you're not quite sure if that's our game or the other game. So.
Well, you saw Joel Adese go into the hoop there, and he thought he was fouled going for that dunk. No, but he wasn't. But Caleb Moss looked around. Everyone else had stopped playing as well. He took the opportunity to get 2 points of his own. That was Yassine Raji getting his 7th point of the game for Trinity. That lead is now up to 30. Burns turns, hits a nice little post move jumper. Burns is trying to force that charge out there. A few times he just plants his feet, especially way too far away from the basket. You know, this isn't a team that's going to make the same silly mistakes of just running through you like the Lions would have gotten used to. That is one of the struggles of playing a bit lesser competition throughout the year. And a long 3 at the buzzer. No good by Slovakinen. And as we go into the break, it's 54-26. Trinity leads. And we've got 8 minutes of basketball left to go here from Ariel Arena in Mount Vernon, Ohio. I had to think about that for a second. What state are we in today?
Yeah, I've been doing so much driving all over the place. A bus trip from home out this way yesterday. Nice 6-hour bus trip with your broadcasting team, getting into all sorts of philosophical debates along the way. And then a bit of a drive from where we were staying out here, about an hour and a half, I think,
yeah.
From our stopping point until the gym today. Although there are teams coming from much further. As we said, Trinity is from Nevada.
IMG Academy that we see on the court closest to us, they are from Florida, I believe.
IMG Academy, yep. And they're in a very hotly contested game, down by 4 points.
Andrew Osborne.
Against Andrew Osborne.
Now, tomorrow, the Lions will play again, regardless of the result. If they win, they get bumped up to the semifinals for the Tier 1 National Championship. And if they fall, they will play in the semifinals of the Tier 2 National Championship. So still a trophy on the line. Either way for the Lions.
Either way, it's good, and either way, it's a fantastic opportunity to go against really good competition, you know, to improve his players and improve as a team. Goodness, number 2, Mo is just all over the ball handler. It's very close man-to-man defense.
And Quain rattles one off the backboard, around the rim and in.
Yeah, it makes him pay for playing him up so tight. Quain went right by him. Here's Stroud guarded by Adese. Nice quick fake. Getting up in the air in a hurry and drawing the blocking foul on Ian Burns. Ian was trying to get into position to draw that charge, as he has done so many times before for the Lions, trying to get in front of the ball carrier to try to draw an offensive foul, but it's just a little, maybe perhaps a bit late getting there. So Stroud will draw the foul on him. That'll be Burns' 3rd.
No good on the old-fashioned three-point play, but Stroud does have 10 points, and he knocks the ball out of Caleb Moss's hands and out of bounds.
Schrader having to come all the way into the backcourt to get it. Trinity hasn't slacked up their pressure much. Perhaps slightly less aggressive than they were before with those players in foul trouble, but still playing really tough, hard man-to-man defense.
And that ball last touched by Trinity, so it'll be Lions basketball to the left of the hoop. Now it's with Schrader. Back to Quain for 3 from the corner.
Oh, no
Short,
good.
but he gets his own rebound. Can't get it to go. Moss has a look at it, and he gets one to fall. So now it's 56-30. Quickly up the floor to Slovakinen. Yeah, it's to Raji to Stroud on the right side. Stroud moves past Burns, and that is a savage dunk.
He rose right up with that left hand, where he'd been so used to giving players the left hand. So we played against some weak left-handed players, but Stroud is not weak going to his left, and he made a very nice play there.
Schrader gets a little floater to go. Timeout called by the Thunder. And the score at the break here is 58-32, about 6:33 to go in the 4th quarter.
Here we see, I think, Coach, perhaps the scoring gap isn't, well, at least to me, isn't as indicative as you know, the closeness between the two teams, although Trinity has shown themselves to be clearly superior here so far today. You know, the Lions aren't that much below their level, but I think some early mistakes by La Salette, some early kind of either nerves or trying to maybe getting a little nervous against this opponent, has led to this large of a differential between the two teams. Well, after we calmed down and started to play basketball, it's been a relatively back and forth game.
And the Lions are gonna struggle with these long road games probably a bit more than Trinity. You have to think they spend their entire year traveling all around the country. Like they were just in Memphis a few weeks ago, and that game I mentioned, losing 110 to 103. But you know, they'd be used to going on these long road trips, whereas the Lions, you know, I mean, some of those trips seem quite long, but they're usually about an hour and a half, not the overnight trip. You know, get out of the van. You have to get ready after spending 6 hours in a vehicle, getting up for a game. And it is different, and it's something that the boys would not be terribly used to.
There's another foul being called on Adese, Coach.
It's his second.
It's his second foul. Stroud going hard there to the basket. And Adese reaching in a bit.
Slovakinen turns over his left shoulder and makes that one fall. Moss picks up his dribble, passes it to Slovakinen over the top to Stroud, who throws it down with 2 hands.
Whew, they got that ball up the court in a hurry.
Now they're showing signs of press. They withdraw after the Lions get it inbounds. Quain dribbling against Mo. He finds little lane and cuts it to Burns, but he gets fouled on the floor first.
Yeah, Quain got fouled on the drive there. It was a nice look inside to Ian. Nice play.
That is Mo's second foul, I believe the 5th team foul. My count is still accurate. Adese wide open under the hoop, gets the hoop and the harm.
Big man finally asserting himself inside there. He's been pretty quiet today. Trinity's given him a lot of attention, so it's been hard for him to get going. We have to watch out. Trinity's sending their 7-footer down the court there.
It looks like Egan Quain will.
Oh, there's the switch.
There's
Burns
the switch. Burns will go back for that. Adese converts the and one, and now it's 62-35. And look how quickly they're going up the floor. It's turning into a bit of a dunk contest down there.
Yeah, their last few plays have all been dunks.
Stroud competing against himself. Now 62-35 Lions trail.
And there's Ian Burns collecting, the missed shot by Adese, going up with the ball maybe a little too quickly there. And the ball bounces out of bounds off of him. So it'll be Trinity basketball here. 64-35 lead by our counting. Not a whole lot of time left to play in this one.
Off the glass goes Nix. He's got 2 more.
Very quick first step, as we've seen from all of these players here.
Moss finds Adese. And I think the Thunder have sensed all game that the Lions are a bit nervous, a bit anxious out on the floor, lacking a bit of composure, and that's their cue to ratchet it up as Burns gets blocked for 3, tries a 15-footer, no good. Now quickly up the floor to Slovakinen, who will lay it up and in, seeing Burns sprinting down the floor. He's got 12 now. Stroud is leading all scorers, I believe, with 16. Actually, correction, Nix is ahead of him with 19. Quain from the corner for 3. A little to the left. Schrader can't get the rebound. Quain comes up with his own rebound. He drives, finds Burns. Burns gets fouled, and he'll go to the line and shoot 2. That foul going against Station Nix, number 1, and that's his 2nd foul, team 7th.
We can see just how used Trinity is to playing fast, Coach, even with not just one sub available for them coming off of the bench. They've been sprinting up and down the court very quickly and getting out on run-outs and everything, and just taking the first available scoring opportunity. So they're in great physical condition and used to playing a very up-and-down game.
Captain Ian Burns dribbles, shoots off the front rim. Moss can't collect the ball, and he knocks it out of bounds, and it will be Thunder basketball. Lions trail 68-36 with about 4 minutes left to go here in the ball game.
And you'd have to wonder how this Trinity team is going to stack up against the famed IMG Academy.
Well, there is plenty of talent on display here. The Lions will see plenty more tomorrow, regardless of win or lose. That game coming up after this that the Lions are certainly going to stick around for and watch probably a half. 2 very talented sides. I believe it's Horizon and there's another bucket there to extend that lead to 34 points. Moss splits through the lane and he gets himself 2.
And Moss finally showing a little bit of confidence, a little bit of composure there, going very quickly to his left hand and slicing in very nicely to score.
Lions need that a little bit earlier in the game from him.
That's 9 points now for the junior in this game.
3 from Slovakinen goes. And he's got 15.
Yeah, he has the Midas touch today, Coach. Everything he lets fly seems to go in.
There's with Adese. He takes a long 3. And that was a low arcing shot. The rebound smacked out of Burns' hand by Stroud. And so the Lions will get an opportunity from just to the left of the hoop on the baseline. Adese cuts in, goes outside to Moss, who will pull up for 3. He gets a 3 of his own. 41-73.
That's 12 points now in the game for Moss. Really starting to come alive here in this 4th quarter and finally play with, as we already mentioned, a little bit more confidence.
And foul called. It's going to go against Joel Adese.
And that'll be his 3rd foul of the basketball game, Coach.
Stroud going to the line, shoot 2. Desse, who
Go ahead,
given up
Joe.
a bit of quickness to Stroud and probably struggling a little bit with that matchup today.
Especially the way that Trinity's spreading it out and getting Stroud on the perimeter against the Desse. Stroud has such a quick first step to his right or to his left, as we already saw, that it's hard for Joel to stay with him.
And that free throw is no good. So the lead stays at 74-41. Burns drives baseline and lays it in nicely.
Yeah, it was a very nice play going to the hoop there. He had the nice open lane going to the basket, and he took advantage and finished up high with his right hand. That's 11 points in the game now for the team captain, Ian Burns.
And there's a whistle. Timeout called. Looks like the Trinity coach called a timeout. He saw Dacian Nix had a untied shoe, and so he said,
He hasn't used too many timeouts this game, Coach.
take a break, let that get tied. Coach Anderson will use it to talk things over with his Lions, down 31 with about a minute 53 left here to go in the fourth quarter. And in front of us, we're getting treated to another game, of course, between Andrew Osborne and IMG Academy. And what a tight one that is. 51-49 with about 6 minutes 30 to go. Two just absolute top-level teams we saw in the warm-up. It was basically Dunk City in this gymnasium on that basketball court. Everyone throwing down during the warm-up.
Yeah, from not very big players either. I think we saw the size that we've seen from Trinity, I don't think is matched by either one of those two teams.
And Trinity commits the backcourt violation on the inbound. A little bit of a mental lapse for them right there.
Fourth quarter gaff.
Desse thought about the three, then he tries to drive on Lima. Jay Janis has the ball knocked out of his hand. He's on the floor. Gets it to Burns, who lays it up and in. And that lead cut down to 29.
It's a very nice play by Burns, twisting and spinning under the hoop and going up with his hand off of the backboard. A couple nice layups in a row for him.
Good job of Janis to stay with it. And that's an easy layup there for Nix. He's got a lot of points. He's got 21. And Moss working on Nix. Air ball's too strong. Rebounded by Slovakinen, and Trinity will slow it down again.
And bringing it up the court very slowly here.
Under a minute to play. Probably pretty confident of the win at the moment. Stroud pulls up from about 10 feet away. Can't get it to go. Moss pushing it up. Finds a little space in the lane, and he gets a shot to fall.
It's another nice basket from Moss. Very good second half performance from him. Both Moss and Burns have been the Lions' threats offensively today.
Ooh. And Stroud got a little ambitious there, trying to dunk over Moss. Moss just taps his arm and says, no, thank you.
Not going to let that happen. Stroud's had too many dunks already today.
Yeah. So he'll have two from the line. The first one goes. Second one up. Rattles around in there, and that one will go as well. And talking about having a good second half, he's got 11 in the second half, 20 in the game.
A consistent performer all around for them. We know that he's being looked at by several colleges, and we can see why. Very talented player.
Now, when you compare Stroud to a Moore, the starting point guard over in Danville, who you pick?
Stroud seems to me to be stronger. Moore seems to very different. Looks to pass more than Stroud does. So it'd be kind of hard. It's sort of hard to evaluate, especially playing. We saw Moore playing for Danville, in the the school level, like the high school level, 4A level in Illinois, and Stroud's, you know, playing at pretty much basically a basketball club level, traveling around here. So different game. I'd go with Stroud though. I think he could take more. He's a little bit quicker perhaps as well.
There's the final horn. Lions fall 80-49 to the Trinity Thunder. Tomorrow, I believe it will be a 12 o'clock tip-off, 12 or 12:30. We'll get that out to you. So pay attention to the LaSalette.net website and follow the stream. Lions will be relegated to the Tier 2 championship bracket after that loss, but they'll still have a shot at some hardware, a shot at some other very, very good teams that are still left here in the tournament. And we look forward to bringing you that action tomorrow. For Father Cheveria, I am Coach Joe Rasmus saying have a lovely afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow.